What's going on out there, good people, and welcome back to LMD Trading, where I am living my dream trading. Hope everybody out there is doing well today. As for myself, I'm gonna refer this to the other YouTubers out there that record videos. Don't you hate when you record a video and then you finish and then you notice that something was not right, something wasn't on, and now you got to do the video all over again? That's my position right now. But other than that, I'm doing good. Just sitting here looking at the charts, going over some of my thinkorswim trades that I took last week. Something that I have not done recently on the YouTube recaps. Been kind of just focusing on the futures, day trading. So figured since I'm sitting here, I'd kind of go ahead and get a video showing what I've been doing in the thinkorswim account lately. Took a few small cap trades last week, some this week, some green, some red, but I am primarily working on a new strategy that I call the magnet to 50 EMA strategy. And this is a swing trade strategy based off of the weekly chart. So I like the weekly chart for my long term to see what a stock is doing. Different people like different time frames. Some people like to use the daily for their long terms. I was watching a guy last week on a podcast. He says he likes to use the quarterly. I took a look at it. Quarterly looks pretty good, but the weekly still is my favorite. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring up thinkorswim right here, and we'll kind of discuss this new 50 magnet to 50 EMA strategy. So I'm always looking at the 50 or the weekly moving average to see what a stock is doing. See where it's headed, kind of see if it's in a downtrend, an uptrend, if it's transitioning. And I usually have the 50 moving average and the 200 moving average on the chart. So that's represented by this lime green line and this solid magenta line. But what I found looking at the weekly charts over the past weeks and months is that this 50 moving average can act as a magnet. And what I needed to do was figure out what the trigger is to cause that to happen. And that's what this broken magenta line is. I call that my trigger line to make this trade work. And as we know, no strategy is 100%. So sometimes you can get triggered in and it won't snap you all the way up to the 50 moving average. But what I found was more times than not, this strategy works. So I went and I made a scanner to look for these ideas, because the market has over 6,000 stocks, and it would take forever to scroll through 6,000 stocks to find stocks that meet this criteria, first of all, and then are ready to trigger. So this scanner right here knocks that 6,000 stocks down to maybe 70, 80 bucks or 80 stocks at times. So usually what I'll do during the daytime when the market is open is I'll have this sorted by this column right here that's color coded. And what this column is a percent gains after the market has opened. So at 9:30, this column is at 0. And if a stock is green on the day, it's going to be green. And if a stock is red on the day, it's going to be red. And I just sorted so that I have the gainers at the top. So we see RXT is at the top. RXT is actually something that I'm trading. If you look up here at my current account, pay no mind to Google. Google just whooped me. I could have got out of Google making a couple of dollars on Tuesday, and I didn't. And it's just crushing me. Ooh, ugly. But you do see RXT up here. It's up 25%. It's up $13.75. Doesn't look like much, but I only risked $10 on this trade. So it's up a little over 1R right now. And you see some other ones up there. Pretty much everything except Google and Apple. These two, Google and Apple, I took prior to me doing this magnet to 50 EMA strategy. So Snap, this is based on the strategy. SQ just has an order in the system. You notice it's 0 position. VNO, solid trade. This one triggered me in yesterday. I did get out of some of that position, so we'll look at that. And then RXT. But that's just showing it sorted that way. Market is closed. So this morning I sorted it by volume so that I could see what had the highest volume yesterday. And we'll kind of just scroll through these real quick and I'll kind of explain how this works. So this is NEO. First and foremost, I want to see the stock in somewhat of a downtrend. I want to see it in a downtrend. So NEO's in a downtrend. I want to see the previous week's candle close, or it doesn't even have to close near this trigger line. It just needs to get close to it. So if the following week pushes back up and triggers you in, you have a set price. So you notice this one didn't really get as close as I would have liked it to, but NEO was not one that I took a trade on. NKLA, this is one that I took a small cap trade on, got hammered on. But you do notice right here when it broke it, and this was 2 weeks ago, when it broke that trigger line, it did come up. Like I said, not all strategies are 100%. They're not always going to do what they're going to do. One thing that I am finding with this is that it's no different than any other chart. You have to look to the left for resistance. Resistance was at 189. The high of this candle was 183. Came up to resistance and it got pushed back down. If you had took this trade and you put the stop down here, you're still in the trade though. You would still be in this trade. RIVN, this is one that I'm in another account. I have three accounts in Thinkorswim. I trade out of 2 of them right now. But RIVN, I am in some calls on this particular one, and yesterday those things got up to 200%. I was gonna say 90 cents. I'm in these contracts for 33 cents a contract. They got up to 90 cents a contract. That's 200%. But look how far this thing still has to go. First area of concern was 1571, so I didn't want to get out of those just yet. Still had some room in it. RNLX, this is what I'm talking about. Notice how this previous week, it came up to the trigger line and it pulled back. It doesn't need to close near the trigger line. It just needs to get to it. That gives you your candle for your stop and your entry. RNLX, it breaks the trigger line. That 50 moving average will usually act as that magnet. It's a good example of it. You put your stop below the low of that candle. Something else that I found, options pay a whole lot better than the share trades do. Even though you do see I took RXT as a share trade. And I'll show you how I get in and out of these positions and how this strategy is pretty much a set it and forget it. Wells Fargo, WFC. This is not a pretty chart. It's not that smooth movement down. So this is one of those ones that's on the list, but you weed through it and say, nope, this would not meet my criteria. Siri. It's in a downtrend, decent downtrend. Doesn't quite come all the way back up to the trigger line, but look at what it did when it broke that line. Still made the nice move. KGC, the lines aren't stacked the way you want to see them. The 50 is actually below the trigger line. So it's one that you just click right on over. RXT, that's that one that I'm in. Previous week, It came up, pulled back. I put an order in the system for when it broke the high of previous week's candle. It triggers me in. Let's see what the high of that. Look at that right there. So I'm gonna highlight that candle. The high of that candle is $2.17. Look at where I got in at. 25 shares, $2.17. Put the stop at 174. You see I have my target a little higher than that line. I probably need to adjust that. I'll adjust that when I finish because it's going to pull up my account number if I do it now. But I like to have my target just below that because we do know that sometimes it can come up there and tap it. You'll see some where it comes up and it just blows straight through it. It just cleanly blows straight through it. But this is a good trade right there. We're up 25%. VNO. It's the one that I was just speaking on. Didn't quite get up to the trigger line, but I still wanted to be a part of this trade. The reason why I say that options are so lucrative with this strategy, let's highlight the trigger line, get over it. All right, I can come over here. That trigger line right now is at $16.45. Look at where the 50 is at, $21. That's $5 worth of room in that move. You can buy an option contract with the strike price at $21. You don't have to buy the option contract at the money, in the money. So you're able to buy it out a good ways. You buy it with time. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to go ahead. This is the option chart for VNO. You notice this is an August 18th option contract. I bought this out 2 months almost. Probably could have got the July one and I would have got it a little cheaper. But look at what I paid for it, 62 cents a contract. So $62 a contract. I bought 4 contracts. Pull this down. I got out of 3 of the contracts. And this was the order I got triggered in on yesterday. Notice when I highlight this, look at the volume, 4 contracts. So this little tick is my 4 contracts. 4 contracts. This thing shot up. Once it got over that trigger, 50 acts as the magnet. I ended up getting out of 3 of the contracts for 90 cents. I'm gonna highlight that. So it's 4 contracts in this bar. 3 of them was mine. And I'm still holding on to 1 contract because again, this still has good room in it. This contract closed at 60 or it's showing market price at 80, but if you look up here, it's showing 75. So still green on the trade. And we'll just see if next week we break the high of this previous week and we go ahead and get those last $3 out of this trade. But that was VNO. Let's look at KMI. Nah, ugly chart. RBLX, ugly chart. This is one that I was just talking about. Wasn't talking about this particular ticker, but BDTX. This is not much room in that. I probably wouldn't want to have been interested. But look at what it did when it triggered and it got to the 50 and just a clean move up. Let's keep going. CYT, perfect example right here of showing you once it breaks, that 50 is a magnet. It came right up to it and pulled right back down. So that was a good example there. AGNC. This one here, you would have got triggered in on June 12th, the week of June 12th. But you see, it's just kind of flagging right now. Not one that I would probably be interested in. Let's look at Square real quick. And then I want to take a look at another one that I took the trade on. So Square is one that I actually have an order sitting out on. And that's why I wanted to look at this one. I have an order sitting out on it. We see right here, it kind of peekabooed you in. And it's just been kind of consolidating. And that's why I said not every time it's just going to snap. But I like this one. If it gets over call it 67.75. So the other thing I like about this strategy is I can put an order in the system to buy options and tell it when it gets over a certain share price, I want to get in on that trade. So I'm gonna highlight that order right now, and it's gonna say buy 2 square July 21st $75 contracts. If the market price for square gets over $67.80. So it will market buy me 2 contracts when square gets over 67.80, and it's going to cancel this order if square goes down below 61.65. So this order is in the system. If it triggers, it's going to do it. If it goes below the lows of these candles, it's going to get me out. And that's what I like about it. I want to look at one that, this one right here. Like I said, I had did this video and I clicked over so I could show you how you set that order up, and my screen didn't click over. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just go ahead and cancel that order out of the system. So you see, I just canceled it out. Oh, that's why my darn, I'm gonna move that over to that screen then. My little tablet that I use to switch back between screens just conked out on me. It's dead. But I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna move over to my right screen, which is the option chain screen. And I'll show you how I take that trade. Let's see what's gonna be the easiest way. I guess I'll walk you through this one. So I'm gonna highlight one of the candles, which will be the trigger candle, and the high of MPW is $9.41. The low is $8.65. So let's take a look and let's see. The 50 EMA is at $11.42. So I'm probably want to grab a $11 strike price. So come over here, $11. First thing I want to do is look at the open interest. Excellent open interest. Look how cheap this contract is, y'all. $2 to $4. It has a 2-cent spread. Good open interest, so good liquidity. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this order up. So the way that you do that, you click the buy button. It's gonna bring up this screen right here, which is to buy 2 contracts, July 21st, $11 strike price. But I want to make this order conditional based on the stock price, not just based on a price that I want to get in on. So if you come over here and you put the arrow, you see that little cog that pops up. I'm gonna click that cog, and this is where the magic happens to set the conditions for this order. So if you click right here, it's gonna automatically fill in the ticker name. You can change that, but why would you want it to trigger you in off of something else? So I'm gonna keep that to trigger me in off of MPW, since that's what I'm trading. Method, when the market price is greater than or equal to, remember we said that weekly candle is $9.41. I'm gonna put $9.42. So just a penny over it. So if MPW market price is greater than or equal to $9.42, it's going to trigger me in on this order up here. And I like to do this part first, and then I'll go and change what I want to actually buy. So that's to get me in the trade. This here is going to be to cancel the order. So same way, MPW market price. Now if it's less than or equal to, in the low of the candle is $8.65. So if MPW gets over $9.42, it's going to trigger me in. If MPW gets below $8.65, it's just going to cancel the order out of the system. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to tell it what I actually wanted to buy. I'm going to do 5 contracts. This is cheap enough. So, and let me do everything else, and then I'll tell you why I did 5. So instead of a limit order, because we don't know where the price is going to be at, I'm gonna just do a market order. So you change this to MARK. This only has a $2 spread. So I don't mind doing a market order. I'm gonna make this good till close. But right now it's trading between $2 and $4. If this moves up and it triggers me in at $6, I'm gonna be in this trade for $30. I'll be in this trade for $30. If this expires worthless, I'll lose $30 on this trade. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna save this. And before I send it over, I do want to show you one thing. Notice it's trading at $2 right now. If this goes and does what we expect it to do and it gets in the money, it's going to be trading at $50. So on a $2 to $4 investment, I stand a chance to make $50 to $54. It's a no-brainer for me. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to confirm this order, and I'm going to send it on over. So now I'll come on back over to my main screen. And now you see that order back on the screen. And if I highlight it, buy 5 contracts if it gets above 942, and cancel the order if it gets below 6 or 865. And it's that easy. I do this on Sundays. I go through this list right here. I look for those ideas. If I find something that looks good like this, I go ahead and take that trade, or not take it, but put that trade in the system. One more that I want to look at, and then I'm gonna wrap up, is coin. Coin. For those that sit in the Discord, y'all know I was pissed off at coin. Man, coin did me wrong this week. So that's coin. Let's pull up coin's option chart. I don't see my orders on here though, because this was earlier in the week. There we go. All right, so look at coin's weekly chart. Trigger line is right there. What's trigger line? Trigger line is like $58, $59. What's the EMA? Let's come over here. EMA is like $74. So just how you saw me put that order in the system, I did it for coin. Notice this contract is a July 21st contract, $75 strike price. Again, I don't need to be buying the $60 strike price. I'm gonna buy the $75 strike price where I want my target at. So this thing triggers me in. I paid $1.77 for this contract. And what I ended up doing was I put a target in the system to make $100. Triggers me in. I put that order into sale. Once it's up $100, this thing chops around, and I look at coin and I'm like, I need to go ahead and remove that order out, but I never do it, y'all. I never do it. It triggers me. It gets me out the trade. I'm huffing and puffing in the Discord. I'm like, you big blah, 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 blah. I make the $100. Make the $100. This thing hits a high the next day of $5.60. It's almost $300 more on one contract that I left on the table. And when I sold this one, I almost jumped back in, but I was like, nope, I don't want to do that. I could have got back in right there and still made $300 more, y'all. But that just shows you. And look at what it did. What was the high of this week? $74.97. That 50 EMA is an excellent magnet. But that's my magnet to 50 EMA strategy, y'all. Fairly simple. I think it's fairly simple. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. See, my camera is frozen, so I'm gonna close it. know what is up with my computer today. But thanks for checking me out as always. If you hadn't hit that like button, please do so. If you're not subscribed, please think about subscribing. And as always, we can continue the conversation in the comments. Like I said, let me know. What do y'all think about that? You think that's something that, just based on what I was showing, might be a decent strategy? Sunday, like I say, I'll go through pretty much all of these that's on that list and see if I can find some other ideas. I'm gonna primarily be focusing on the option ones, and I'm usually looking for contracts that have at least 1,000 open interests, but I want the spread to be fairly small, like $10 small, because again, with that condition, it's going to market me in. So it's with that spread, you're usually getting filled right in between. You're getting filled in between the bid and the ask. So that's what we're doing over here at LMD Trading. Day trading those futures. Still trying to get used to that NinjaTrader platform. I had a couple of snafus this week that cost me some money, but overall, we are still green on the week. And I'll probably run right back after I close this one out and just look at the details for how we did on NinjaTrader this week. So on that note, I'm gonna go ahead